All right, in this episode of Homegrown Experience, we're following my hunts in the Kentucky season of 2020, all the way from early September hunting, archery, all the way to archery hunting right before gun season in early November. This is a culmination of many hunts, and we were targeting 3 different mature bucks that were on the farm, and they kept playing cat and mouse with us, and finally we caught up with one. The first hunt in early September, we decided to target this deer we named Drago. He was a 7 to 8 year old deer, very mature, very smart. He'd seen it all, and he was using a clover field in the middle of the farm, and the only blind we had in there was a redneck right on the edge of the clover. Unfortunately, being that early, it was also very hot. On the way in, we have a method which a lot of people are using now, is we use our trucks to drive us to the blinds or the stands. That way, if any deer are in the fields early, that the truck will run them off and they're not alerted to the presence of humans coming in with camouflage and whatnot. All right, we're back in here hunting on Drago. I think this is our 4th night in here. And the only thing we can figure about this deer is that maybe he's using the wind. And we had a big wind change. It's moving from the east. Now it's blowing across the field. So we're thinking he's using multiple fields and maybe only come to this field when the wind's in his face. So, you know, we have an ozonics. We're gonna try to do our best to be scent free, but hopefully we pull it off. But I think that's the only way we're gonna get him, is we gotta hunt the wind that doesn't work the best for our scent. So we're gonna give it a try, see what happens. Close these windows. It's so hot. At some point we're gonna have to close them up here and try to control some of our scent. In this early season hunt, we were hunting out of a redneck blind, especially in early season with the amount of scent that is in the air and the deer can detect that. We found that using rednecks not only is more comfortable, but also conceals our scent better, and we can even close the windows and wait till the ideal moment for a shot to open it and harvest the deer. Here we are, October the 9th, hunting in Kentucky here in 2020. We're hunting for this deer we named Drago. We've been sitting on this deer probably 9 times now. He's just a ghost. Nobody's ever laid eyes on him. He's just one of those smart deer that it seems like, you know, you're never on him, and he's always doing something different. It's really warm still. We're kind of having an Indian summer, but you know, it's Friday night and all of us had a chance to hunt, so you're not going to kill him on the couch. So we're sitting out here and just hoping for the best, and hopefully old Drago makes an appearance in here. He's just a big old mature deer. We know he's in the area. We know he's been in this spot before, so, and he was here this morning, so we're just hoping for the best. Here we go. Coming in a little bit after daylight. Thought it'd be better than bumbling around in the dark. We're hunting this redneck back in the woods, and yeah, we're gonna get in there, and we got lunch. We're gonna sit all day. So it's been raining for a day and a half. This is the first clear day. It's almost Halloween's tomorrow. This is the time. So we're gonna sit all day. We packed some calls this time because a grunt call or a rattling might work today. I don't know, but we're planning on getting in here and sitting a while. So let's do it. does.
Ultimately, we never harvested Drago on these first early season hunts, and he just disappeared from our life. So we decided to shift gears on our next deer, which we called Christmas Tree. Christmas Tree was using a really small core area, and he was occupying this wood strip, which we had another redneck back in the woods actually, and we decided to sit all day, and the deer were moving at odd times, often in the middle of the day. This particular stand site where we have the redneck is on a beautiful oak ridge that was torn up with scrapes. Even when we walked in to hunt, we saw brand new scrapes that had been laid down the night before we even hunted. So it was a perfect ambush site where in the mid-season that he would be chasing and looking for does, and we thought it was a perfect opportunity to sit all day on it.
Sun's coming out, so it's a full moon, and a lot of times in the full moon they start moving in the middle of the day. Last couple of days our camera in here has been picking up some really big bucks, anywhere between 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock, so we've seen a couple does, and we're just sitting here, and it's a little cold, and the sun's starting to pop out, so we're thinking maybe they'll get up and start moving around. It's just a waiting game at this point, so we got plenty of food and snacks and stuff, so we're gonna send it out. So.
I thought it was the three. There's like 5 or 6 go through. Oh yeah. There's that buck.
We just saw a line of does pushing through, and then a couple minutes later, a little buck came through. Looked like a 6-point, a good size 6-point, was running them around. So we're starting to see some movement. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come.
We noticed in this season, in 2020 particularly, we started seeing a tremendous amount of coyotes on our trail cameras. Groups of 5, 3, 2, almost all over the farm. And sure enough, on this hunt, a coyote coming through to inspect the area. About 5:30, we finally started seeing some deer movement. We saw a buck heading our way.
He's turning, walking away.
I decided to try a grunt call at him, thinking that he might come to investigate another buck and might be tending does.
That's tall, man. Big deer.
So that might be it. Yeah, that's it.
That's tall.
Yeah, that's tall. That's it. Yeah, he's going this way.
And it was, in fact, it was Christmas Tree. He was kind of quartering across the ridge.
Just see his back end.
We've been seeing so many coyotes on the farm, and then all of a sudden we heard what it sounded like 30 coyotes. Sometimes it might only be 5 or 6, but hearing that many coyotes calling together just raises your hair up. And that night, seeing the sun setting right at prime time, hearing that call really kind of drowned our spirits.
That's gotta be a blind. We're back in this blind. Field and I sat in all day the other day. We took a day off yesterday because it was Halloween and we all got kids, so trick-or-treating and candy took precedence. November 2nd, 2020. It's November the 6th. We're still hunting this buck we call Christmas Tree. This deer's just like a ghost. He's been coming in here at night. If anything, we'll see our pet squirrel we've been watching for a few days here.
We hunted several more times after Christmas Tree, who was very secretive deer. He would rarely make appearances. You know, we'd noticed in years past he shows up more in late winter. So we decided to shift our gears and start hunting another buck on the farm who was a 5-year-old deer we called Little Glenn. We decided to go after Little Glenn, who was a 5-year-old deer that we'd been following for years. We had pictures of him from when he was a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and then now 5 years old. We have sheds of him from 3 and 4 years old before this. Little Glenn moved into a different area, and we decided to use a mobile redneck, which is a redneck blind that put on a mobile trailer with wheels that we can move into different locations depending on where the deer shift to. We pile in the mobile redneck blind. At first we don't see anything, and then of course the first encounter we have again is with a coyote.
Is he closer?
He's about 70 yards walking this way. Right up the mountain field.
Our first encounter, we noticed a small buck that was heading our way with a few does. All of a sudden they lift their heads up and start looking around, which usually means someone else is coming.
It's a devil. It's a bigger buck. It's a big deer. It's a big buck.
I couldn't see in the direction where all the deer were coming from, but Field Hutnell, who was filming this hunt, could see down in that direction, and all of a sudden I could hear in his excitement he was seeing a big buck heading our way. He didn't know exactly who it was, and I couldn't see it, and I didn't want to lean out, but the more he got excited, the more I got excited.
Man, that looks big to me. Is that a big deer? Who's that? There's 3 coyotes right there.
First, we see 3 coyotes in the corner of the field where they all came from, then 4, then 5, then believe it or not, we had 8 coyotes in the field after all the deer left. Our first reaction was maybe to shoot one of the coyotes to try to scare them out of the field, but we decided to shoo them out with our hats or trying to just scare them in order that maybe we had a chance that little Glenn could enter the field once again. This would be a coyote hunter's dream, to have 8 coyotes in the field, but a deer hunter's nightmare. After this frustrating hunt, we hunted several other times to no avail, and the rut's starting to peak up. But all of a sudden we shifted our gears around and started finding deer. We're using thick cover and starting to tend does, so we moved our sets over into the woods. When we found that he was using these woods, we knew he was tending does. We kept getting pictures of him locked up with does, and this ended up being one of the most exciting hunts of my life that I'll never forget.
Oh my God, we did a field. We did it, dude. We did it. He's a huge deer.